So what happened to the Republican Party? Here's my theory. After Johnson signed the Civil Rights Acts, the Southern segregationists left the Democratic Party and became Republicans. Up until 1964, 1965, the Democratic Party was a coalition of Southern segregationists and Northern liberals, okay? But after the Civil Rights Acts of 64 and 65, Johnson said, I just lost the South. And he did. They all went to the Republican Party. But it got harder to demonize black people politically. Nixon and Reagan relied on what are called dog whistles. They talked about crime, busing, welfare, and food stamps. You all know Lee Atwater's, his deathbed confession. Now, immigrants, especially from Mexico, they discovered were easy to demonize because they weren't white, they didn't speak the language, and you could claim they didn't belong here. So, hatred for immigrants has always been baked into this country. The xenophobia within the Republican Party, however, that Trump tapped into, I believe, began in California in 1994 with then conservative, the despicable Arianna Huffington, yes, the despicable founder of the Huffington Post. Yeah, I know, you think she's a Democrat, you think she's a liberal. She's a con artist. In 1994, Arianna Huffington, who should rot in hell, single-handedly succeeded in getting Proposition 187 passed in California, which denied public schooling and emergency health care to Latin American immigrants and their children. Yes, Arianna Huffington, who everybody thinks is such a great liberal. She's an opportunistic infection. Her Prop 187 passed with 59%. She wrote the contract for America in 1994 as well, okay? Her Prop 187 passed with 59% of the vote in deep blue California. This was 1994. The U.S. Supreme Court later struck 187 down, saying 187 was unconstitutional because you can't deny access to public schools and health care based on immigration status. In fact, Reagan signed a law making it illegal for hospitals to deny emergency treatment to non-citizens. So, Prop 187 passed in California to Arianna Huffington, passed to deny health care and education to immigrants. It got killed in the courts. But in 1994, 59% of deep blue California voted in favor of it. Politically, going after immigrants worked because that's what 187 showed, I believe. If deep blue California wanted to deny education and healthcare benefits to immigrant children, imagine what deep red states would want to do to them. 59% of California voting against immigrants. In a liberal state like California, that's a landslide. And I believe it was 187 that told Republicans, hey, we can't beat up on black people, so let's beat up on immigrants to satisfy the bloodlust of all those Southern segregationists who became Republicans thanks to LBJ's embrace of civil rights. 59% of the vote in California. A week or two before that election, Arianna Huffington, who was the champion for denying education and health care to immigrant children, it was revealed not only that she had a nanny who wasn't a citizen, Arianna Huffington also didn't pay her Social Security taxes for her nanny. That's a crime. Not for the nanny, but for Arianna Huffington. You have to pay Social Security taxes for your full-time non-citizen nannies, even though the nannies don't qualify for Social Security. Arianna Huffington, bad person. Bad person. She's your enemy. She's your enemy. I know, it's tough to believe that. Well, despite her hypocrisy, Proposition 187 passed, and as I said, it took our Supreme Court to tell liberal California, your bigotry is unconstitutional. I believe Republicans on the far right saw the results of 187 as an opening. Again, if 187 passes in California, it meant there's much to be gained politically, nationwide, especially in deep red states that hate people of color. You can get a lot by demonizing Latin American immigrants. Hatred for immigrants, especially non-white, is baked into our nation's DNA. But in terms of the modern Republican Party, Prop 187 in 1994 set the stage for the Republican Party getting taken over by Donald Trump Trump's know-nothings, the Rush Limbaughs, the Pat Buchanans, the Ann Coulters, the Sean Hannitys, who couldn't bring themselves to admit they're congenital racists. So instead, they decided the party needed a purity test on immigration, people of color, Latin American immigrants. If you're for immigration reform, they said you can't be a Republican. Ask our Secretary of State Marco Rubio about the backflips he was forced to perform after he tried to get immigration reform passed before running for president in 2016. His run for president in 2016 was basically an apology tour for his trying to pass immigration reform. 20 years after Prop 187, Republicans no longer wanted immigration reform because they no longer wanted immigration. Before he died, Charlie Kirk was saying he opposed illegal and legal immigration. These are the know-nothings. That's a term dating back to the 1850s. Know-nothings. It's a nickname for members back in 1850 and before that, 1840s. It was a nickname for the newly formed nativist American Party. The American Party's platform called for mandatory reading of the Bible in public schools, the Protestant Bible. They hated the Pope. The know-nothings, that's what they called themselves, wanted to ban Catholics from holding public office. And they wanted to ban all immigration, especially from Catholic-heavy Germany and Ireland. The know-nothings were MAGA. By 1855, the Speaker of the United States House of Representatives, Nathan P. Banks, was a know-nothing. By 1855, the know-nothings were the second largest political party in the United States, electing 100 members to Congress, 8 governors, and winning complete control of the state houses inside Massachusetts and Connecticut. Well, what happened to the know-nothings? Otherwise known as they called themselves the American Party, but their nickname was the know-nothings. What happened to it? What happened to the American Party? Well, believe it or not, the Northern know-nothings opposed slavery. So the American Party collapsed once the Civil War broke out. Hatred for immigrants in America, nothing new. All that changes is where the immigrants come from. Back then, it was Ireland and Germany. Today, it's migrants from Central America. Trump and his supporters are direct descendants of the know-nothings. In the 1850s, the members of the American Party called themselves the know-nothings because it was, at first, a secret organization. And if anyone asked a member of the group, "Who are you? What do you stand for?" the members were supposed to say, "I know nothing," cue theme song from Hogan's Heroes. Trump's followers are obviously a different type of know-nothing. That being said, Donald Trump knows what he's doing. Hatred for immigrants, especially immigrants of color, sells, not just in America, but all over the world.